Darkness hung over the abandoned road like a shroud, broken only by the faint shimmer of distant city lights, pale ghosts haunting the horizon. Wind stirred loose gravel, sending tiny echoes into the quiet void, a lonely symphony in a world that had long since stopped listening. Oliver Kane's hoverbike hummed beneath him like a tired old beast. He wasn't going anywhere specific, just away from responsibility, away from expectations, away from anything that asked him to stay. For the past few years, directionless motion had been his closest companion. That's when he saw her. It happened too fast, the flicker of movement in his headlights, a glint of metal, a shape on the road, then panic. Oliver swerved hard. Gravel spat up, the bike groaning in protest, the thrusters choked, and for one horrifying second he was sure he'd crash. But somehow, miraculously, he stopped. Mere inches from the figure line sprawled across the asphalt. It was a girl. He killed the engine, headlights dimming slightly. She wasn't just unconscious. Something was off. Her skin shimmered with a silvery hue, like moonlight lived beneath the surface. Her hair, tangled and almost white, was streaked with dust and blood, or something like it. Oliver hesitated, chewing his lower lip. He could leave, pretend he hadn't seen anything, keep driving, but that gnawing guilt had a sharp edge tonight. "Damn it," he muttered, swinging off the bike. He knelt beside her, fingertips pressing to her throat. Barely a pulse, breathing shallow. A gash ran along her side, dark fluid oozing. Bruises covered her arms, round marks almost like restraints or claws. "Well," Oliver muttered, slipping his arms under her, "this is definitely a mistake." She was light, too light, like her bones weren't built quite right. He tried not to think about that. His hoverbike beeped indignantly as he laid her across the rear seat. Yeah, he grumbled. "Just once I'd like to not pick up someone who might be an alien fugitive." Another beep. "Judgy. Hey, you shut down in the middle of a police chase. Don't start with me." He mounted the bike, gave the girl one last look, then hit the throttle. The road blurred beneath them, night air sharp against his face. The silence was thick but oddly peaceful. For a moment he let himself believe this might be simple, that maybe tonight wouldn't spiral into madness. That's when the sky exploded. A gut-rattling boom echoed behind them. Oliver's rearview mirror lit up with cold, unnatural blue light. He glanced back and cursed. The sky had torn open. Dark shapes poured through, sleek and predatory. Not ships, hunters. "Of course she's being chased," Oliver growled, slamming the throttle forward. The hoverbike screamed as he pushed it to its limits. The girl remained slumped, unconscious. Another bolt of blue energy screamed past, scorching the air inches from his shoulder. "Oh, hell no," he barked, swerving off-road. The outskirts of the city loomed, abandoned warehouses and rusting structures. He weaved between skeletal buildings, engines howling, warning systems beeping wildly. "Don't you dare say we're low on power." Fantastic. Then, movement. Behind them, the lead hunter dropped, diving. And the girl woke up. Her eyes snapped open, glowing silver. The air pulsed, reality hiccuped, and the hunter behind them exploded in a blinding flash of white light. Oliver nearly crashed. "What the hell?" he shouted. The girl, now very much awake and glowing, looked him dead in the eye. "They found me," she rasped. "We need to run." Oliver stared at her, then the smoldering wreckage, then back. "Oh, no, we're way past running now." Because if she could do that, whatever was chasing them wasn't just dangerous. It was terrified of her. The sky wasn't supposed to rip open like that. Blue light pulsed from the tear in the night, a searing wound in reality itself. From that glowing rift, the hunters emerged. black, fluid-like shapes with jagged edges that shimmered and flickered like corrupted code. They moved with predatory grace, not flying but distorting through the air. Oliver Kane's heart jackhammered in his chest. The hoverbike shuddered beneath him as it pushed full throttle through the skeletons of abandoned gas stations and warehouses, engines whining in protest. Behind him, the girl lion was now very much awake, glowing softly with some internal light. Her silver eyes were focused but dazed, and her hand clutched her side where dark liquid still seeped from the wound. Another energy bolt screamed past. Oliver veered sharply left, avoiding the shot by inches. Sparks exploded as his bike clipped the edge of a rusted sign. "We are going to die in the dumbest way imaginable," he yelled into the wind. Lien didn't respond. Instead, she twisted in her seat, her hand glowing faintly. Oliver caught a glimpse of her focus just as a second hunter dove low behind them. A burst of light, sudden, searing, and soundless. The hunter disintegrated mid-air. Oliver let out a strangled sound. "What was that?" Lien winced. "I destabilized its core." He swerved again, narrowly dodging another attack. "It turned into a sun. That's not just destabilizing. That's overkill." She looked sheepish. "I may have overdone it." The bike sputtered, warning lights blinking. "Oh, no, no, no," Oliver muttered, smacking the dashboard. "Not now." "We need to lose them," Leon said, her voice tight with pain. "Fantastic idea," Oliver barked. "You got a better one? Maybe a portal to another reality? A cloaking device? How about a miracle?" She frowned. "You joke a lot." Trauma response. He yanked the handlebars into a tight turn, zipping between collapsing walls. One of the hunters slammed into debris, crumpling in a heap, but even as Oliver glanced back, it was reforming, its body pulling itself together like sentient tar. "Okay, so these things are unkillable. Great." The bike screeched through a rusted gate and into a maze of back alleys. Oliver made no attempt to navigate with logic. He zigzagged, turned blind corners, even doubled back once. "If we don't know where we're going," he reasoned, "they sure as hell don't either." Behind them, the humming of the hunters grew fainter, but not gone. Then, salvation, a scrapyard. A sprawling, rusted graveyard of broken starships and alien tech loomed ahead, metal bones twisted beneath a blanket of darkness. Oliver didn't hesitate. He gunned the engine and dove into its depths, weaving between mountains of wreckage. He killed the engine and ducked behind a pile of jagged metal. Silence swallowed them. Lien slid off the bike, her legs trembling. Oliver pulled her behind cover as a shadow passed overhead. One of the hunters hovered above the scrapyard. They both froze. The creature drifted silently, its body pulsing with dark light. It didn't move like a machine. It moved like a thought, an idea too wrong to be real. It scanned, searching. Oliver barely breathed, neither did Lien. Then, silence. The hunter drifted away. Oliver exhaled, heart slamming in his chest. "Okay, that was fun. Let's never do it again." Lien didn't laugh. She looked at him, really looked at him. Her silver skin still glowed faintly, and her face was pale but alert. "You didn't have to stop. You didn't have to help me." He shrugged. "Yeah, well, I make terrible decisions. You're different." Oliver arched a brow. "Human, we're full of bad ideas and guilt complexes." Lien didn't argue. She just leaned back against the wreckage and closed her eyes. For now, they were safe. But above them, the night sky still held a scar, the rift glowing faintly, promising that the nightmare wasn't over yet. The scrapyard stretched endlessly into the dark. Twisted hulls of forgotten ships and the skeletal remains of machines long past their prime. It groaned and creaked with every breeze, like ghosts whispering through rusted lungs. Oliver Kane sat cross-legged on what was probably the engine casing of a decommissioned star cruiser. Across from him, Lion examined the wound on her side, her pale fingers slick with dark fluid that definitely wasn't blood, but close enough to make him uncomfortable. "Okay," Oliver said, rubbing his palms together. "Now that we're not being chased by space nightmares, let's go back to the part where you're glowing like a radioactive jellyfish and blowing things up with your mind." Lian didn't answer immediately. She shifted her jacket aside and placed her palm over her chest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, beneath her skin, a pale pulse flickered, soft, rhythmic, and very much alive. It wasn't just her veins glowing. Something deeper responded. "What the hell?" Oliver leaned closer. "That's not just a cool party trick, is it?" She gave him a tired smile. "No. It's called the Echo Core." He blinked. "That sounds very dramatic." "It is." He made a circling gesture with his hand. "And it does what?" Lian hesitated, her silver eyes suddenly heavy. "It's the last remnant of a power my people once carried. When my world fell, I was the only one left to protect it." Oliver felt his stomach twist. "Fell? As in destroyed?" The word hung in the air like a death sentence. The scrapyard felt even more like a graveyard now. "So," he said, slower this time, "you're the last of your kind." Lian gave a small nod. Oliver exhaled. "That sucks." She blinked, clearly expecting a different reaction. "I mean," he shrugged, "I don't have a better response than that. Galactic genocide kind of kills the mood." Her lips twitched. "Yes," she said softly, "it does." "So," Oliver tried again, "those hunter things, they want the Echo Core?" "Yes." "To use it or destroy it?" Lian's jaw tightened. "Maybe both, but it's useless to them without me." Oliver tilted his head. "Why's that?" She shifted, and the glow beneath her skin pulsed faintly. "Because it's bonded to me. It can't function outside my body." He let out a long, low whistle. "So, as long as you're alive, they can't have it." She met his eyes. "Exactly." "Well," he leaned back, rubbing the back of his neck, "no wonder they're pissed." Lian chuckled quietly. Oliver frowned. "And if they do get it?" Her smile vanished. "Entire worlds are in danger." His stomach dropped. "Cool. No pressure." Lian gave him a long, unreadable look. "You didn't have to help me." "Oh, sure," he scoffed. "Let the dying alien girl with a superweapon in her chest get vaporized? That's a great story to tell at the pub." "You're different." He pointed at himself. "I'm human. We're full of contradictions and terrible decision-making." She shook her head, a faint smile playing at her lips. "That's not what I meant." For the first time, Oliver didn't have a sarcastic reply. He looked up at the sky, at the faint scar left behind by the rift. "So what now?" Lian's gaze turned distant. "We run." Oliver gave her a look, really hoping for a better answer than that. "We can't fight them. Not yet. The Echo Core is unstable. If I use it again like before, I don't know what might happen." "Wait," Oliver said, raising a brow. "You mean that explosion back there wasn't on purpose?" "Not entirely." He nodded slowly. "Cool." Very reassuring. Lian actually laughed. "Quiet tired, but real." He smirked. "See? I can be funny." She shook her head, still smiling. "We should move soon. They'll come back." Oliver sighed, running a hand down his face. "Guess I should be flattered that a bunch of interdimensional soul eaters are now after me by association." "You're strange, Oliver Kane." "Yeah, well," he said, standing and stretching. "If we're going to run from reality-bending horrors, we might as well do it with style." The first hints of dawn spilled over the scrapyard, painting twisted wreckage in hues of violet and burnt orange. It should have been a peaceful morning. Instead, Oliver Kane crouched behind the rusted husk of a long-dead starship, gripping a plasma rifle he barely knew how to use. Beside him, Liane stood tense, her silver skin dulled with fatigue, but her eyes, those eyes, still burned with something fierce. "They're back," she whispered. Oliver peeked around the edge of the starship and saw them. Shadows stretching like oil across the ground, black forms gliding silently into the scrapyard. The hunters hadn't given up. They were circling now, not charging, waiting. "They know we're cornered," he muttered. Liane didn't move. "They always do." "You don't have to fight," she said quietly. "You've done more than enough." Oliver gave her a look. "Yeah, and I like being alive. So unless you've got a magic button for instant getaway, we're both doing this." She gave the smallest smile. "I mean it. You could still run." "I've been running most of my life," Oliver said, adjusting his grip on the rifle. "Time to see what staying feels like." The shadows thickened. One hunter hovered above, its shape flickering unnaturally between humanoid and something else. The lead figure, darker than the rest, descended with deliberate grace. It didn't speak, not at first. Then, a voice, not heard, but felt, a scraping whisper that bypassed ears and drilled into bone. "Give us the core?" Liane stood firm. "No." The figure tilted its head. "Then we will take it." Oliver sighed. Wow, diplomacy really is dead. The air fractured. The first hunter lunged impossibly fast. Liane dodged just in time, and the creature slammed into twisted metal, scattering shards like shrapnel. Oliver barely had time to raise his rifle before another shape came hurtling at him. He panicked, pulled the trigger. A pulse of energy screamed from the barrel, missing the target entirely but blasting a nearby pile of scrap to bits. The hunter hesitated, seemingly confused by the display of dumb luck. Oliver pointed the rifle again. "Yeah, that's right. Who's next?" Another hunter dove. He dodged and promptly tripped over a discarded engine coil. "Okay, less cool now," he grunted. Liane moved like light. She spun, ducked, blasted an attacker with a concussive wave. It didn't kill, but it stunned. The creatures didn't die easy. Oliver's brain kicked into overdrive. They were surrounded, outgunned, but maybe, just maybe, there was another option. He scrambled over to a nearby wreck, yanking open a control panel. Inside, a rusted fusion core still blinked dimly. "Liane," he shouted, "can you buy me 30 seconds?" She nodded without hesitation. Turning, she faced the hunters, her glow intensifying. "You don't understand the power you're after," she warned. "You don't understand the consequences," the lead hunter replied. Her hands lit up. "Neither do you." A wave of force exploded from her. Not destruction, pressure. It hurled the hunters back, bought them precious seconds. Oliver ripped wires from the core, sparks flying. "Why is it always red and blue wires?" The core hummed, vibrating wildly. "Ready?" he shouted. Liane sprinted to him. He held up a sparking cable. "How do you feel about a dramatic exit?" She smirked. "I approve." He jammed the cable into place. The explosion was instant. The scrapyard erupted in fire and force, sending Oliver and Liane flying through the air, tumbling through smoke and shrapnel. The shockwave flattened the area and silenced the hunters. When the dust settled, Oliver coughed, lifting his head. "Okay, still alive. That's something." Liane groaned beside him. "That was excessive." He helped her sit up. "Yeah, but effective." She gave him a long look, then laughed. It was quiet and shaky, but real. Oliver chuckled, wiping grime from his face. "So, what now?" Leanne looked to the sky, the rift still glowing faintly beyond the clouds. Now, she said, we find out who sent them. Oliver blinked. We? She arched a brow. You said you were done running. He hesitated, then grinned. Guess I'm in. The wind rolled over the still smoldering wreckage of the scrapyard, tugging at torn fabric and whistling through scorched metal. The hunters were gone, at least for now, but the feeling of being hunted had sunk too deep to shake. Oliver Kane stood on the outskirts of what had nearly been his grave, brushing soot from his jacket. His hoverbike was a scorched mess, half functional but still alive, like him. Beside him, Leanne leaned against a twisted bulkhead, her face pale but eyes sharp. They'd survive, but survival was no longer enough. You okay? Oliver asked, squinting at her. She nodded, though it looked like the motion cost her. The core, it's stable again. For now. He eyed her warily. What happens if it isn't? Leanne didn't answer. That said enough. Oliver sighed, kicking a loose gear across the dirt. So, who sent those guys? The hunters? You said we'd find out. She turned toward the horizon. They don't act on their own. Someone controls them. Or created them. Of course they do, Oliver muttered. Because shadowy, reality-warping death monsters always come with a puppet master. Leanne cracked a tired smile. You can stay. I won't hold it against you. He met her gaze. Nah, I've already upgraded from debt collectors to interdimensional nightmares. What's one more leap? They spent the next hour patching the hoverbike with spare parts scavenged from the scrapyard. The repairs were haphazard, barely enough to hold under strain, but it would get them moving. As they worked, Leanne explained what she knew. Her people had once been the keepers of immense knowledge, guardians of the echo cores, ancient, living tech capable of reshaping reality. But, as with all power, someone always wanted more. A war, a betrayal, a fall. She had fled through dimensions to protect the last core. Oliver listened in silence. He didn't have the words to match that kind of tragedy, so he offered what he could: focus, effort, presence. Finally, with one last slap of a panel and a hopeful twist of the ignition, the bike groaned back to life. He grinned. Told you she'd run again. Leanne raised a brow. You said she might explode. They climbed aboard, the wind biting colder now, the dawn behind them fading fast into morning. Where to? Oliver asked. There's a contact, Leanne said. An archivist. If anyone knows who's after us. It's her. Oliver nodded, revving the bike. Let's go make some new enemies. They shot forward into the unknown, weaving through broken highways and forgotten valleys. The world beyond the scrapyard was wide and full of secrets. For the first time, Oliver wasn't running, not really. He was heading toward something. And beside him, the last ember of a fallen world burned steady and bright. They reached the outskirts of what had once been a thriving trade hub, now a silent, dust-covered ruin. The city was called Virella, but time had weathered it down to little more than memory and rust. Towers leaned like tired giants, neon signs flickered with ghostly pulses. Automated systems still ran in endless loops. Security drones patrolling shadows, vending bots offering food no one would eat. The city wasn't dead. It just didn't know it yet. Leanne guided Oliver down a back alley that twisted behind a collapsed tram station. She lives beneath the old university, she said, if she's still alive. That's comforting, Oliver muttered, pushing aside a fallen sign that read, faculty only. The entrance was hidden, a half-collapsed maintenance shaft barely wide enough to crawl through. Leanne dropped first, her body fluid and confident despite the bruises. Oliver followed, grumbling the entire way. The tunnel led into darkness, deep, dense darkness, lit only by the soft glow radiating from Leanne's chest. That pulse, the echo core, guided them. After what felt like hours, the tunnel widened into a massive underground chamber. Book, thousands of them. Paper, digital, crystalline, and formats Oliver couldn't begin to recognize. Stacked in columns, hanging from cables, floating mid-air. The walls pulsed faintly with embedded circuitry, casting a gentle blue aura over the cavern. "She's a little eccentric," Lien warned. "Define eccentric," Oliver asked. "She might try to kill you first." "Oh, perfect." A voice echoed from the far end of the chamber. "I don't try, I succeed." Oliver turned, hand reaching instinctively for a weapon he didn't have. She appeared from the shadows, tall, cloaked, her face half covered by a mechanical veil. One of her eyes glowed a soft teal, the other clearly artificial and tracking him like a hawk. "Hello, Lien," the woman said. "You brought a stray." "He saved my life," Lien replied. "That explains the smell," the woman said, circling Oliver. "I like her," Oliver muttered. "I am called Eris," she announced. "Archivist of the fallen lore, keeper of echo records, speaker for the forgotten." "Impressive resume," Oliver said. "Any chance you can tell us who's trying to kill us?" Eris narrowed her eyes at Lien. "You used the core." "I had to." "You exposed yourself. They will not stop now." Oliver stepped forward. "Yeah, we figured that out after the second explosion." Eris ignored him. "They're not just tracking you, Lien. They're pulling toward you. Echo frequency resonance. You're a beacon." "Can it be blocked?" Lien asked. "Yes, but not here. You need to reach the vault of silence." Oliver made a face. "Why does that sound like a place people don't come back from?" "Because they don't." Lien's voice was quiet. "What's in the vault?" Eris hesitated. "The last frequency dampener. Ancient tech, hidden by the original echo bearers before the fall. If you reach it, you might break the link." "Might," Oliver repeated. "Such confidence." Eris turned away. "You'll need coordinates, a map through the ghost zone, and clearance chips. I'll give you what I can, but after that, you're on your own." Lien nodded. "Thank you." Eris stepped closer to her. "You were never meant to carry this alone." "I know." She turned to Oliver. "Protect her. If she falls, the core falls. And if that happens, the galaxy burns." Oliver swallowed hard. No pressure, Varela vanished behind them, swallowed by desert winds and distant echoes of a civilization that had outlived its usefulness. Oliver and Lien rode in silence, the hum of the hoverbike the only soundtrack to their descent into the unknown. The ghost zone wasn't on any official map. Even in a galaxy brimming with anomalies, it was legend, spoken of in the same hushed tones as haunted nebulae and cursed moons, a place where navigation systems refused to function and reality tended to misbehave. "This is insane," Oliver muttered, scanning the black horizon. Lien sat behind him, her arm loosely hooked around his waist. "You said you were done running." "Yeah, but I didn't say I was up for this." She gave him a faint smile. "We're not running. We're going through." The bike's warning systems were already acting up, sensors glitching, readings jumping between extremes. A low fog clung to the terrain, curling around jagged rock formations and skeletal structures that looked like they were never meant to be touched by time. "Keep an eye on the sky," Lien whispered. "Because sometimes it watches back." Oliver resisted the urge to look up. They crossed into the ghost zone as daylight faded, not into night, but into something less defined. Colors bent strangely here, shadows stretched too far. It felt like stepping between thoughts, between beats in a song that was no longer playing. "Do you feel that?" Oliver asked. "Yes," Lien said. "It's trying to rewrite us." "Come again." "Reality here is flexible. If we're not careful, we'll forget who we are." "Oh, good," he said. Let's add existential crisis to the list. The first illusion hit them a few kilometers in. A glowing city rose in the distance, towers made of crystal and gold. Oliver instinctively veered toward it. "Stop!" Leon shouted. He slammed the brakes. The city evaporated. "Not real," she said. "None of it is." They pushed forward, ignoring whispers that weren't there, faces that didn't exist, and roads that twisted into spirals before resetting. At one point, the bike tried to fly upward into what it claimed was the true road. Oliver smacked the dashboard. "Don't listen to the creepy fog," he snapped. "We're not flying into the sky today." Leanne pressed her fingers to her temple, her glow flickering. "The core is helping, just barely, but we're not alone." "Fantastic," Oliver muttered. From the fog, shapes emerged. Not hunters, not yet. These were different. Echoes of past travelers, fractured beings caught in loops. One waved at them. Another whispered Oliver's name. "Don't stop," Leon warned. "I wasn't planning on it." The terrain thickened. Lightning with no storm cracked the horizon. Gravity tilted without warning. For a few agonizing minutes, they were upside down, driving on nothing. Then, just as suddenly, it ended. The fog parted, the static in Oliver's head cleared. Before them lay a valley, real, solid, and unmistakably ancient. At the far end, a mountain carved with alien glyphs, a single massive door etched in gold. "The Vault of Silence," Leanne said. Oliver exhaled, his hands trembling. "That was the most terrifying road trip I've ever had." "You did well. I hallucinated my high school gym teacher in the fog." Leanne gave him a look. "Long story. Let's get inside." They approached the vault slowly, reverently. The door pulsed as they neared. "It knows," Leanne whispered. "It remembers." The echo core glowed brighter beneath her skin. Oliver reached out. The door opened. The Vault of Silence stood like a forgotten god, carved from black stone and laced with veins of pulsing gold. As the door creaked open, the sound was not mechanical, but something older, something alive. Oliver Kane stepped forward cautiously, Leon at his side. The moment they crossed the threshold, the air thickened, sound dulled. The world outside vanished like a dream. Inside, the chamber was vast, larger than it should have been. Towers of crystalline data spires hummed with faint energy. Floating orbs circled above, each one pulsing with a heartbeat of its own. Echoes of knowledge, Leon had called them. The door sealed behind them. "Okay," Oliver whispered, voice muffled. "Now what?" Leanne pointed toward the center of the vault, a raised platform surrounded by concentric rings of alien script. At its core stood a pedestal, humming with silent energy. "That's it," she said. "The dampener." Oliver stepped forward, but Leanne stopped him with a hand to his chest. "It has to be me," she said. "It was built for a bearer. The core will respond." He hesitated, then stepped back. "You got this." Leanne approached the platform slowly. As she ascended, the glyphs lit up beneath her feet, rippling outward like waves. The core beneath her skin responded in kind, pulsing brighter, faster. She placed her hand on the pedestal. The chamber thrummed. A column of light erupted from the platform, illuminating the ceiling, and then everything went still. Silence. True, absolute silence. Oliver blinked, dizzy. The constant hum he hadn't even noticed was gone. The core had gone dim. "It worked," Leanne said. Her voice sounded normal, untethered. He exhaled in relief. "So they can't track you anymore?" "No, we're ghosts now, to them." But the moment was short-lived. The chamber shook. Oliver instinctively reached for a weapon he didn't have. That's not how victory is supposed to feel. The vault groaned, lights dimmed. From the far side of the chamber, a ripple of shadow coalesced. "Oh no," Leon whispered. "They found us anyway." A figure stepped from the darkness. Not a hunter, but worse. It wore a form but only barely. Tall, regal, robed in shifting shadow. Its face was a void with burning eyes. Behind it hovered 3 hunter silhouettes, motionless, like ghosts waiting for commands. "Lian," it spoke, voice like cracking ice. "Bearer of the final core, you are out of time." Oliver stepped forward. "Who are you?" "I am the one who ended her world." Lien's hands clenched. "You have no name, only hunger." "I am the unraveled," it said, "and I will not let what remains of your kind escape consequence." The hunters moved. Oliver pulled Lien back. "Ideas?" "The dampener gave us cover," she said, "but it also muted the core. I can't use it, not like before. So we're locked in a box with the thing that exterminated your people and 3 of his death hounds. Essentially." "Cool, cool, cool." The unraveled raised a hand. The temperature dropped, the air crystallized. "Give me the core," it said, "or die screaming." Lien stood tall. "You want it?" She flared the last of its remaining light. "Come take it." And then the vault erupted. The battle was chaos. Oliver ducked behind a collapsing column as energy slammed into it. Lien hurled a shockwave with one arm, the core flickering dangerously. A hunter surged toward Oliver. He grabbed a shard of broken crystal and jammed it into its chest. The creature shrieked, staggering. "You like that?" he yelled, ducking a retaliatory strike. Lien fought like someone with nothing left to lose. Her glow returned in surges. Wild, unstable, she wasn't controlling the core. She was riding it. The unraveled descended upon her, claws raised. Oliver tackled it mid-air, shouting wordless defiance. It threw him aside like a rag doll, but it gave Lion an opening. She grabbed its face, eyes burning silver. "You ended my people," she whispered, "but I carry them still." She paused. A massive wave of energy engulfed the vault. The hunters disintegrated. The unraveled howled, its form unraveling, folding in on itself. The vault groaned. The dampener cracked. The walls split. "Lien!" Oliver screamed, diving for her. He reached her just as the vault collapsed.